What is up, YouTube? Today I'm coming back at you with another gaming pickups video. And today's gaming pickups, I went a little bit overboard again, but I basically got quite a number of games here. I think I got about 8 games, and for a bunch of different platforms, and I don't know, I just got a lot of good deals, a lot of interesting games, so yeah, let's just get right into it. We'll go oldest games to newest games as usual. So, the first game is for the PlayStation 1, and this is actually something that I had been wanting to get. It's part of a franchise that I really, really love, and I want to get as many, not every, because every would be a lot, but I want to get as many in this series as possible, and I've talked about it before, but I picked up the collector's package of Final Fantasy Anthology. This comes with Final Fantasy 5 and 6 in this one package. So this is actually just a port from the Super Nintendo and Super Famicom, because Final Fantasy 5 never came out originally over here, so this is one really good way to get that game. So, you have 5 and 6. There's the back. There's the front. You have the mech suit thing. Now, I've played a little bit of 6, but I haven't gotten really far into it. But basically, it looks like one of those interesting Final Fantasies that blends magic and modern technology really, really well. Like, it kind of has that same Final Fantasy 8 feel. Final Fantasy V, however, I have not played at all, but there's a screenshot, and there's a dragon in that screenshot, so I'm excited, because that seems really, really cool, because dragons are cool, and Final Fantasy and dragons is a bonus, because I don't think any of the Final Fantasies I've played have had dragons in them, in the traditional sense, I should say. Yeah, so Final Fantasy Anthology, it came complete. This is Final Fantasy V. And then it also came with the music of Final Fantasy V and 6 on a soundtrack disc, which is, I think it's not the full soundtrack. I think it's just a few select songs. And it also came with Final Fantasy VI, obviously. So I'm really happy to have that in my Final Fantasy collection and, my PS1 collection. So good to have that. Next, we are moving on to the PlayStation 2, which I have 2 games for. This first game, it just looked kind of interesting. I liked the cover art a lot, and I liked the description on the back, and the screenshots looked decent. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this one up on a whim, and it seems pretty cool. It's it's called Extermination. Sorry, I can't read backwards because when I look at the camera, everything's backwards. So. Yeah, it's called Extermination, and this is a survival horror game. Sort of, it kind of feels like Alien, like the movie Alien, but game form, other than the actual Alien games. But it's really, really cool. The graphics are pretty decent. You got really cool creatures. It's really, really cool, because I like games where there's sci-fi and horror elements, because it's just something that isn't done as much as just straight up horror. So nice to have this one in the collection. It did not come complete, unfortunately. Just came with the disc, which kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, I got this from my local used store as well as Final Fantasy Anthology, that new local used store that I really like. Alright, the next one I picked up seemed really, really cool. I picked this one up, even though I don't normally like the kind of games in this genre. It is a strategy RPG, strategy tactics RPG. I'm not a big fan of tactics RPGs, to be completely honest, but I really like the art style a lot, and that it's just really what put me over the point of buying it, because I just really like this art style, and the way that the cover is done, it really drew me in. So I had to get it. It was not too expensive, so I was like, I'll check it out. It's called La Pucelle Tactics. I'm just assuming it's French, so I tried to pronounce it in the most French way as I could. I don't speak French, so there's that as well. So I just tried to Frenchify that. But it looks pretty cool. It's a anime tactic style RPG. Pretty standard anime tactic RPGs. They're very, very popular now. Basically any JRPG you see on the PS3, or I don't know about PS4, but PS3, there's a ton of these tactic style RPGs. The Skya series, there's just a lot. Record of Agarest War, there's a lot of them. But it did come complete, which is really nice. And I believe that this is a full color manual, so that's kind of cool. See if I can find some good pictures in here to show you. Here's one. Full color manual. It's really nice. And I'm really excited to have this. I always like getting RPGs in my PS2 collection. And this is just one I hadn't heard of, and it's got a really good, nice art style, so thought why not check this one out. Next, we're moving on to the original Xbox. Alright, so this one is a game that I hadn't heard of, but I decided to pick it up because the back looked really cool, and it's on the back. It had a little quote on the back that made it seem like there would be decision-based gameplay, which I really, really love in my RPGs, and I picked up Enclave for the original Xbox. And on the back it says, choose your path, warrior of the light or minion of the dark. So that kind of leads me to believe that you will be choosing good guy or bad guy, which I love doing that in games because it makes it much more replayable, and it's just really, really fun to be the bad guy sometimes. Like in Knights of the Old Republic, I played as a Sith, so yeah. But this is a traditional fantasy style action RPG with hopefully decision-based combat. It has a lot of graphics that really remind me of Morrowind. Like the armor right here of this guy looks really Morrowind-esque, and I really like that art style, so I was really excited to pick this one up. The combat's pretty nice. The environments are really well done. Like all the level design is really well done, and it's pretty good graphics for the original Xbox, so I'm really excited to have this. It did come complete with the manual, and it also came with this really cool mini hint book, which you don't see very often. I'll put it over here so it does not cover by the gameplay, but mini hint book, which you don't see very often in games at all. Even back then, you didn't see them that often. So I thought that was pretty cool that it came with that as well. So there's that game. Alright, so this next game is kind of a niche game, I would say. It's a licensed game, and I'm actually really excited about this licensed game because I'm a huge fan of the franchise, like, massive fan. And it's just really cool. I didn't even know they made games for this until recently, and I'm just really excited to have this. It's an Xbox exclusive also, which is really weird because licensed games and a licensed exclusive game is just really, really weird. But it is called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the game for original Xbox only. Really, really cool. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was such a great show. I watched all of Buffy and Angel. 12 seasons of a TV show. So it was a lot I had to watch, but I'm really excited for this because I believe I read the back of this, and this is actually a standalone story that is a spin-off from the actual TV series. So you actually get a new story in this one, which is really, really cool. You obviously play as Buffy Summers. Here's the back. And it's obviously like an action-style combat game. But I think it's really, really cool. I'm a massive fan of this franchise, and I just thought it was really, really cool that they made a game for it. And it also came complete. And the manual is not in color, but, you know, what can you do about a licensed game? But really excited to have this. This is actually kind of hard to find. I've only ever seen this a couple times, so interesting game. Really happy to have this. And the next game is actually another licensed game that I'm really excited about. And actually, it's in the same series. And yes, there were two Buffy games that were released. This one was released on every system at the time, which was GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, which is how licensed games normally go. But this one is a little bit more standard issue licensed game. It is called Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds. And it's pretty standard compared to the last one. The last one had its own unique story. This one, I believe, I read the back of it. I actually haven't played this one at all. But the back of it, originally I thought, oh, this must take place sometime in Season 3 because Faith is on here. Or, yeah, because I thought Faith was on here, so I was like, wow, must be like a Season 3 game or something. Or somewhere around that timeline. But right on the back, it mentions the first, so this is... And I was reading the back here, and it really sounds like this is just going to be a game version of Season 7. So if you've never watched Buffy, you really have to watch the whole show before you can play this game. Which luckily I have, so that's kind of nice. But the cool thing about this is you not only play as Buffy, but you can play as some of the companions. You can play as... Spike, it looks like. You can play as Willow, and I don't know if you can play as Faith. I don't see any screenshots on the back here where you're playing as Faith, but I'm assuming you can play as Xander as well. But so basically, I'm guessing most of the main cast you can play as, which is kind of cool because I believe in that Buffy game over there, you can only play as Buffy. So it's kind of cool to be able to play as other people. It did come complete with the manual and the disc. I don't think this manual's color either. No, this is just standard issue manual. But, yeah, it's really nice to have that one in my collection. I'm a huge fan of that, so now I own all the Buffy games, which is really cool. Alright, so the next system we're moving on to is the Xbox 360, which I have 2 games for, surprisingly. Now, this game I picked up because it's an exclusive, and like I said many, many times, pretty much any time I pick up Xbox games, I say this. I'm mainly only buying exclusives for my not for my original Xbox, for my Xbox 360, which, to my surprise, there have been a lot more than I anticipated so far. I've got like 13 or 14 exclusives already. And this is another one. This one is called Kameo Elements of Power. This one is a fantasy action-adventure game. And I really liked the art style, and it was an exclusive, and it's got fantasy elements. It kind of reminds me of the back artwork here. Kind of reminds me of what's it called, Goblin Commander: Unleash the Horde for the PS2. Kind of has that same looking art style, but I really like this. It's always nice to have more exclusives, especially fantasy adventure games, because those are really, really fun. In my opinion, one of my favorite genres is basically fantasy games. And also, it came complete with the disc and the manual. And this manual actually looks really cool. They kind of did sort of like a Sly Cooper thing, where it's like supposed to be a book, which is really cool. I'll show you a little bit what it looks like on the inside, because it's got a cool looking inside. They tried to format it sort of like a book would be, which is kind of cool. It's different. So you get, oops, I keep doing that. So you got like little hints on the side too. It's just neat little things like that. Nice exclusive to have for my Xbox 360. Now the next one I picked up is another exclusive. Now this one's a bit bigger, and pretty much everybody knows this franchise and this game. It's very popular. Pretty much everyone has an Xbox 360, needs to own this game, and has played this game. And I've not actually seen this particular version of it, but I've seen other versions of it. It is Halo 3. And this is, I don't even know what edition this is, but it's like a weird double steelbook thing. I've never seen this edition before. I've seen the Legendary edition that came with the helmet, but I'm not sure what edition this was, because it's got a slipcover. Now the steelbook's a little scratched up, and a little dented, but it's still really nice. It's got a 3 on the front and a 3 on the back. But it's weird because it opens on the front, Things are falling out because they're not bolted in. Alright, so let's try to show this without things falling out. So it opens up in the front like this, and in the front here you have the game itself. The game itself. You have what I'm assuming is the manual or something, because it comes with a bunch of booklets. So I'm assuming this is the manual. Now this is like... No, yeah, this is the manual. So this is the manual. And it also comes with a poster. And that's not all, because when you close this side, flip it around, and open this side, you have more stuff on this side as well. You have a Essentials disc, which I'm not sure what's on this disc. I'm assuming it's like a DVD behind the scenes type thing. And it also comes with this book right here, which contains, it's hardcover, which is nice. A bunch of like information and artwork about all the planets and like the monsters that live there. But that's not all. This one came with another poster of the exact same type, I believe. I'm not sure if it's the exact same type. I didn't really check all that long. And another manual. That has a different cover. I don't know why it has two different covers, but yeah, I have no idea what edition of this game it is, but it's a really weird, because it opens this opens this way and this opens that way. It's the weirdest steelbook I've ever seen. But it's nice to have. It's a really cool edition of this game, and it was pretty much the same price as a normal copy of the used version, so I was like, why not get this one? So Halo 3, I know that took a little bit longer than the other games, but there's just a lot in there. And the last game I picked up is for my Vita, and I have to have Vita games. I love my Vita, so I had to pick this one up. It's just, you know, another Vita game. This one is Mind Zero or Mind O. I'm not really sure what you would call it. Like Mind Zero, Mind O. Not sure what it's actually called. But it's basically a JRPG, like most Vita games, but it's kind of done in the same style as the old Dragon Quest games, where, you know, random encounter, you got the splash screen where you just see the monsters and you just attack them, you know, traditional style. Kind of reminds me of Persona. Like, it looks like they were going after that Persona thing. Did not come complete, cartridge only. I'm not even sure if there is a complete version, because a lot of Vita games don't come with anything. But it's definitely got that Persona style and Persona feel, so that's kind of what they were going for. It's an alright RPG. It's obviously there. It was there to capture the hardcore RPG market. This was an early release, I know that, so it's nice to have it, and always cool to have more RPGs for my Vita. And now that was everything that I picked up. Got a lot of games, obviously. If you watched all the way through, you are awesome. You will get a thumbs up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any suggestions for games, wow, this piece of hair has been crazy all day. If you have any suggestions for games, leave them in the comment box below. I will check them out. I read all my comments and try to respond to as many as possible, especially on my new videos. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. If you have any suggestions, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. And that's all I have. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.